WooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. We're going to get started here in just one moment, but before we do, if anybody who's on the call would be kind enough to confirm that both audio and video connections are functioning as expected, you should be able to hear my voice as always see my screen, which should say WooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call on it. You can just confirm by saying so in the chat box. Then we got a confirmation from Dean, William, Kyle. Hello to everyone, and once more, welcome to this weekly question and answer session from WooPlayer. My name is Peter. I am WooPlayer's product manager, and we're holding this session in order to communicate with you guys and see if there is any insight that we can provide, both with regards to WooPlayer itself and its features, modules, and use cases, as well as to other applications of video in your business. Also, we're here to discuss any upcoming changes that we're working on and making sure that you stay up to date so you can leverage the most value out of WooPlayer, as well as to, as indicated and mentioned previously, just share ideas, communicate different use cases, and elaborate on them and see how we can organize and sort any feedback or constructive criticism that you guys have in order to continue to drive value through WooPlayer to your business. So with that in mind, the format of the webinar is pretty straightforward. So at any time that you have a question, just feel free to drop it in this chat box, or if you came prepared with any questions, now would be a good time to start typing them out, as we're just going to start answering them in the order that they come in. This is, even though the last couple of weeks are no indicator of that, this is a weekly webinar session, and apologies for, I think we were on for 1 week, then off for 1 week, and then on off for another week, and all of that confusion was both with regards to the state of affairs as it is currently in the world, as well as with everybody working from home and the time zones and the hours changing from for daylight savings, and everything was just confusing for the last couple of weeks. So apologies because we missed a couple of webinars there. But it is a weekly webinar session, and replays are and will be available on both our YouTube channel, a link to which I'm just pasting here in the description, as well as on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/WooPlayer, where you can, if you haven't joined that, if you haven't subscribed to that YouTube channel or joined that Facebook group, I do encourage you to do so, as doing so will help you stay up to date with everything WooPlayer. Did I have anything else that I wanted to bring up? Oh yeah, so a couple of resources which are good for everybody who's just getting started with WooPlayer. First one would be docs.wooplayer.com, which is our knowledge base. And there you can find out everything about WooPlayer, and in particular for everybody who's just getting started with WooPlayer, there's a getting started section, and I'll just link to that directly. So you have that, and also if you have any ideas that you want to share about WooPlayer while you're using it, but are unable to attend the webinar, but just can't hold it off, you may always contribute feedback through our product board, and you may access it by clicking over here on documentation and support and submit and vote on ideas, and that will bring you to our product board where you can see all of the items that we're currently working on, stuff that's under consideration from your fellow WooPlayer users, as well as stuff that we've been recently launching. And primarily, as indicated up here in the top right corner, you have the option to submit a new idea and indicate how important it is to you, and that way we can organize it better and roadmap it better and get it in front of other WooPlayer users. So all of these are requests from other WooPlayer users who have brought this up. So for example, Camtasia integration, or as Clark Cotton is saying, update on ConvertBox integration. So we add ConvertBox to the list of items that people are requesting. So as they gather momentum, we can prioritize them accordingly. So in that is the update on ConvertBox integration. So we've noted that there are interested parties in it and listed it. So if it picks up significant momentum, we're going to start working on it. Cool. Stephen, do we have any other questions? Let me just scroll back. Kyle is saying, thanks for fixing the chapter markers. Definitely welcome. Thank you for bringing up that issue to us. So if anybody else has any questions or comments this time, we're more than welcome to enter them. Stephen saying thanks. William is saying, hope all is well. Do you see VooPlayer being voice controlled, voice command in the future? Example, play chapters name, play playlist name, etc. I don't know. I've never given that much thought. First time I hear anybody requesting that, so I don't foresee that in the near future. Maybe if voice commands become somewhat more of a standard in utilization of other technologies, primarily across the web, then we would definitely think of supporting that as well. But I just haven't seen any players that work like that, or necessarily any web technologies that act in such a way where people are necessarily voice controlling them, aside from maybe some really strict accessibility applications that need to function in that way. But just mainstream, I haven't seen that. Clark is saying, I'm getting the email address set up for the enterprise license we spoke about. Okay, not really a topic for the webinar, but thanks for the update. Kyle is saying, can you give us a quick update on the product roadmap? And Clark is saying, interactive video commands are becoming paramount in video. Also stock videos. Not sure what that's in reference to, but I'll focus on Kyle's question a little bit more. Can you give us a quick update on the product roadmap? So that's always a great question to answer. So as it stands, we're not moving anywhere from where we set sail on at the beginning of the year. So we've been thinking about ramping up development to move even faster before the global pandemic started, and we were thinking about onboarding additional developers to help us move the new version of the player more quickly, but have decided not to do so, as we're not necessarily sure of all of the both economic as well as other implications which might arise out of this. So we've just kept going on with the same pace of developing the 4.2 version of the player, which is now in the beta period, and everybody can start testing it out and providing feedback on it. More information is available on it in our docs, so let me just share that with you as well. If I can find it. 4.2 beta release notes. So here you can find the updates on that and how you can participate in that beta program if you're interested. So that's the new player that we're working on, and that's all that we are continuing to focus on. I'm pleased to report that we have made significant strides and have started integrating actual features in it. So we're really pleased with how it's coming along and are continuing to work on it. Only thing that I'm regretful about is that we're planning to move even faster, but at this time, we're just going to kind of stick it out and see how things turn out as far as the global situation is concerned. On that note, I might as well reiterate what I said on the last couple of webinars. So if you know anybody who's doing anything with regards to sort of coronavirus relief, or have been affected, businesses which have been affected by corona in any way, we at WooPlayer have offered to provide discounts for them in any way. So just let them know to just email us at support@woolplayer.com and say what their needs are, if they have any video needs, and we can help in any way. I'm sure that we'll gladly accommodate those businesses and individuals which are in any way either impacted by the virus or are working on efforts to alleviate the effects of both the virus as well as the pandemic. Steven is saying, has there been much interest in integrating commenting platforms with WooPlayer as an option for videos? We do currently have Facebook comments inside of the, whatchamacallit, the watch page, the video page. You have an ability to enable Facebook comments on that page. So that's kind of the only thing that we've had. I've had maybe a couple of requests noted for integrating the discuss commenting platform on those pages as well. So there have been some requests on that. There's also been some requests on building a custom comments section, which would be something where you can like mention users and people and mention timestamps in the video and stuff like that. So there's been some comments here and there about integrating some sort of a notation / discussion platform within the video page. So that's definitely not something that people are not interested in. Just we haven't received any significant momentum on moving on that. So Stephen, if you have some ideas that you would like to share about that commenting session, now is a particularly good time to add any sort of feedback that you have for general improvements of WooPlayer as we're working on this new player version, as that gives us an opportunity to review all of the feedback that we've collected thus far and come up with improved solutions to some of the problems which you have been facing, which we have been facing as well, both from a technology and from an experience standpoint. Thank you. Clark Cotton is saying update on pre-roll and mid-roll and post-roll ads. Yeah, so that just segued right into what I was saying, is that all of the feedback that we've gathered on improving individual features or adding additional functionalities is considered for the new player. So we're not working on the existing player on any new features or any new functionalities at this time. So anything that we're considering on working on for 4.2, and some features will get cut. We've already identified that. We haven't come up with a list or anything like that, but we've definitely said some things need to be cut, some things need to be added, some things need to be remodeled, some things need to be working better, some things need to have additional options, some things need fewer options, and so on. So we're definitely gonna rework how some of this stuff works, and we'll be able to hopefully come up with a better solution. Clark is saying the old school gates are in that box. The old school gates, not sure what the old school gates are. So one of the things that we're doing is the problem that we've been facing with a lot of the gates, for example, is that none of the gates are scalable as they should be. So overlays, for example, scale particularly well because we've kind of designed them with that in mind, but we've designed the locks and overlays in a different system, in a different layouting system in the player. So scaling them additionally after the fact has been a nightmare. So they've been really hard to use and understand on mobile experiences. So we've reworked all of that, where we've built sort of a big scaling wrapper system, which is just gonna nicely scale whatever you throw into it, be it an overlay, being a lock, be it a end card, be it anything really, is going to scale much better in the new version of the player. Randall is saying, just to double check, WooPlayer does not offer a live streaming service. Is that right? WooPlayer does not offer a streaming service of any kind. That is right, in that we don't provide any streaming services. However, we do support importing streaming links into WooPlayer, meaning that if you have an active stream somewhere, we as I mentioned, we don't provide a streaming service in that we don't host streams themselves. So if you have a server or a service provider that you're able to stream through, that's able to give you a URL to the source content of that stream, be it a live stream, be it a loop stream, be it whatever, we do support you importing those links to streams inside of WooPlayer, but we don't provide streaming services. Hopefully that's not too confusing, but if it is, just let me know, and maybe I can explain it a little bit better. Clark Cotton is saying it's going to be awesome. Funnel building 2, it's where things are going. Steven is saying, I started seeing videos on Prime with ads embedded randomly within videos. I think maybe TMB Flicks. Any thoughts of randomly placed unlimited number of ads, or is that easy now? I have never tried to do this. Actually, we already support this, and it's not so random as you may think. A lot of this is based on viewers' interaction with both the timeline and the engagement. A lot of thoughts and algorithms go into this. So what I would suggest you take a look at would be vast ad feeds, advertising server. And let me just find, maybe I think Google has a nice one. This is the official one. These are the official guidelines. So maybe take a look at this. So the WooPlayer is supporting both Vast and vPaid, vPlay streaming ad servers, meaning that you basically get a feed which you're able to run ads off of, and run data off of, and run conditions off of, and get a bunch of variables going. That I think this is what I was video ad serving template. I'll just share you the official guidelines for it. So Stephen, take a look at this. So WooPlayer does support Vast and vPlay feeds, so you're able to import them inside of WooPlayer, and based on the configurations of that ad server, it will feed the ads in a specific format. It will say, hey, these ads can be skipped, these ads can be skipped, these ads will play as pre-rolls, these ads will play as mid-rolls, and so on and so on and so on. So that's the best way to execute on that. The receiving of an FTP feed from a third-party production host can be encoded and then moved into WooPlayer easy. Keep ads to 5 seconds in video. Some nice tips. Short videos like Vine and TikTok are taking off for documentaries. Just create short WooPlayer ads and build documentaries. Can you please re-explain the new players feature you just mentioned? Players feature. Which feature, William? I'm not sure that I was talking about any particular feature. Not standard ads, Stephen is saying, more like snippets from outside authorities, Condo and election niche. Maybe I'm not understanding. Snippets from outside authorities within the video player itself, or alongside the page where you're watching. I'm just trying to understand how is that different from what I was saying. The content of the ads is not all that relevant to how they're being fed into the player or how they're being played. William, with regards to the overlays, I wasn't talking about any particular new features. I was just talking about an improved system for scaling all feature and all content, both overlays and custom HTML content, as well as locks and gates and everything. So I was talking about the improved method and approach that we're taking to scaling everything inside of WooPlayer, so it looks good both on mobile experience as well as on large screens. That's all I was talking about. No new features have been mentioned. Clark Cotton is saying WooPlayer is a game changer. Don't be afraid to ask questions in the support feature. And Wayne, great service. 30-second to 1 minute cut-ins, not from third-party host. How do you know where they were coming from? How do you know they were not from a third-party host? I'm interested to learn. If you're aware, Steven. I'm not sure how you would be able to determine where the ads are coming from if they're being streamed within the player. Do we have any additional questions or comments that we can get to? This has been a very eclectic discussion today. Clark is saying, think in terms of hybrid hosting and storage savings, but don't forget encryption security add-ons when you host with WooPlayer. Yeah, definitely don't forget the encryption security add-ons when you host with WooPlayer. Why would you want to forget that? I want to do this. The ones on Prime are probably as you suggest. Yeah, so definitely just if you feel that what they have is not somehow accomplished by Vast and Vplay, but that's the basically the industry standard for serving ads within videos at this time, and it gives you the most complete set of features and customization options that you can integrate with your ads. So that's definitely something that I would recommend you look at first. And if that's not what Prime is doing or how Prime is doing that, then maybe just come back to us at support@woolplayer.com and maybe provide us with what they're doing and describe it to us, and then we can see if we're missing out on something already. But definitely do check out that article that I highlighted. You want to create the ads yourself. I see. If you want to create the ads yourself, then you could go the hard route of creating your ad server as well on your own. But if you just want to create the ads on your own, that's something that Clark has also mentioned, which would be an ability such as you have with upload a custom video for a pre-roll and upload a custom video for a post-roll. Also upload a custom video or provide a link to a custom video which would play at any random point in the video which you choose. So that's also one of the things that we're considering if you're thinking about creating the ads yourself. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Now I understand much better what you were talking about. But I strongly suspect that's not how Prime is doing it. So let me just note that feedback point, because that's a completely different interest zone. Let me just make sure that I'm logged in. All right, and let me just not lose Steven's feedback there. All right. I missed something. Kyle was saying, can you explain the 360 feature? Do we have an example in the articles on that 360 video support? No, that's not very helpful. 360 videos. This article doesn't provide an example, which I'm annoyed at that it doesn't. But basically, in 360 videos, so here's 360 video on YouTube, for example. Just so I don't look for one that I have in Wool Player. Basically, it works like this. Maybe. Wait. Let me try and find a good example. I think this will do it. Yeah. So this is, let me just pause that, or actually maybe I can just turn off the volume on that so we can watch. So this is a 360 video on YouTube where you can basically, as you're going through this roller coaster, you can look around in every direction that you want. So I'm controlling the sort of say position of the camera with my mouse or with my fingers, so you can do that. So that's what 360 video is, and they're supported inside of Wool Player. You can, and I think you've seen what the sort of source material for them looks like. Let me just take a look. Yeah, so you can see here, this is actually in its unwrapped state, but here on the thumbnail, when I'm playing it, you can see sort of how the unwrapped video looks like. So it needs to be recorded with specific cameras and so on and so on. But basically, it provides you with an immersive experience where you can look around inside of a video player in different directions. Clark is saying contents and A/B testing are great with the Wool Player roadmap, funnel and paywall with any provider to collect payments. Steven is saying, I think I sent you samples of this before for Google Earth. Uses some additional HTML code and special cam videos. Not sure what that's in reference to. Steven, you might have to refresh my memory. Clark is saying education summits are taking off now to Wool Player as your mastermind. Back end is awesome. Glad that you're enjoying using Wool Player. Steven is saying 360 style videos. I can't remember what the context was with Google Earth. Uses some additional HTML code and special cam videos. Yeah, as mentioned, 360 videos are already supported inside of Wool Player. So Wool Player does have all the necessary technologies for providing the controls where you can look around, as long as you can record the video in such a fashion that it works in 360. Or you can just try enabling 360 on any video. It's going to look horrible, but it'll do the trick. William is saying we have more time to watch replays now, guys. More YouTube uploads are needed. Yes, definitely something that we need to work on. So thanks for bringing that to our attention. If we have any more questions, maybe we can take one or two more. If not, I want to thank everybody for taking the time this week to join this call. I'm hoping that you all are feeling well and that are getting through this. Hopefully, we'll see you next week when we continue to improve Wool Player. So thank you once more for joining this week, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Have a great remainder of this week. Bye for now from Wool Player.